The second generation of the popular Canon EOS R6 has made its debut, and we're fortunate enough to get one in our hands for a first look. Some have said the Canon EOS R6 Mark II is a mid-cycle refresh, but we see it being much more than that. Sure, many of the physical aspects of the camera remain the same, with a few exceptions, but overall, there are plenty of features to make it worthwhile to many shooters. At first glance, it seems like the same body. We do, however, get a new power switch and a dedicated photo-video switch on the top. The hot shoe has also been updated to Canon's multifunction shoe found on the R3, R5C, and R7 to accommodate the next level of accessories like the DM E1D stereo microphone, Tascam CA XLR 2DC microphone adapter, as well as the EL1 and new EL5 speedlights. The sensor also gets a slight megapixel bump from 20 to 24.2, similar to the R3. While not the same as the R3's stacked sensor, the R6 Mark II's non-stacked sensor, working with the Digic X image processor, is an amazing combination, allowing you to get sharp images in any light. Autofocus performance is improved in a few ways. The deep learning technology used by the EOS R6 Mark II allows the shooter to either select the type of subject matter to focus on, or use the auto mode to allow the camera to use subject detection on its own. The camera will determine what is in focus depending on the subject matter in the frame. Improved head, face, and eye detection helps you better focus on a person in more challenging uses like wearing a helmet or a branch temporarily obstructing the view. Plus, you can also map a custom button to prioritize either the left or the right eye. Burst shooting with mechanical shutter stays the same at 12 frames per second, but has a sizable increase in electronic shutter up to 40 frames per second. This will be excellent for faster moving sports like football, volleyball, soccer, and swimming. Like we mentioned, this is not a stacked sensor like on the R3, so fast moving tennis rackets, hockey sticks, and golf clubs may have a slight warp depending on the speed. For these types of sports, we recommend using the R3 for optimal performance. Video on the R6 Mark II answers many of the concerns filmmakers had with the version 1. The first has been long awaited. No 30-minute movie recording limit. Canon says you can shoot 4K 60 frames per second up to 50 minutes, if not longer. Full HD 180 frames per second up to 60 minutes, and Full HD 24 and 30 frames per second up to 6 hours. Make sure you have plenty of space on your SD cards and adequate power. It may seem like we glossed over these specs, but it's true. You can shoot uncropped 4K up to 60 frames per second, Full HD up to 180 frames per second, full frame. To make sure you don't miss a shot, Canon added the movie pre-recording option, which allows you to select 3 or 5 seconds of recording before you press the record button. So in effect, it has a buffer of 3 or 5 seconds of constant video recording for peace of mind. Focus breathing correction can be enabled to reduce perceived changes in composition based on focus distance. Canon does this by cropping slightly into the image, allowing your audience to focus on the subject. At the time of this recording, certain lenses will be compatible immediately, with a firmware update in the future to add more lenses. For more video usability, Canon added the Quick Menu 2 option. This is a user interface for some operations like you may have seen on the R5C or C70. Quickly jump in, change a setting or two, then jump back. And as a surprise, Canon added the ability to use false color without needing an additional monitor. You can also toggle this on and off when you assign this to a button. For a raw video workflow, use the Canon EOS R6 Mark II with the Atomos Ninja V Plus to get up to 6K 60 frames per second, up to 30 frames per second on the Ninja V, and 3.7K in the cropped video mode. Webcam meetings are made easier by adding the UVC live streaming capability to the EOS R6 Mark II. Without additional software, you can plug the camera directly into a computer via the USB-C port and interface with many popular meeting apps like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and more. In addition to the updated body, Canon has given us a new lens to the RF lineup, the RF 135mm f1.8 LIS USM. It has a minimum focus distance of about 27 inches and up to 8 stops of shake correction when used with an R-series camera with an in-body image stabilizer. Nano ultrasonic motors offer silent and smooth focus operation for moving subjects. Not to mention, a first for a non-super telephoto lens are 2 programmable buttons on the barrel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. To make either of these part of your bag, visit any of our physical locations or online at bedfords.com.